Today I want to talk to you about improving your drawing and painting skills. But before I get into that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the drawing that I'll be doing in this video today. Now, the reference photo I'll be using today was given to me by a friend, Christian, from Utah. Thanks, Christian. So let's go ahead and get that reference photo up on the screen so you can see what I'm working with. So the way I like to go about this is I work out the drawing on a few separate pieces of printer paper so that I don't screw up my actual piece of paper, which I'll use for the final drawing. The first drawing isn't too impressive. It's more to allow me to get the initial idea worked out on paper, and then I'll set that aside and move to the next one, which will be a little bit more of a refined drawing. The second drawing does look a little bit better, but there's some imperfections. The proportions aren't perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and start a third one and try to make this one proportionally correct and even better so that I'm ready to transfer it to my actual sheet of paper. Once I'm happy with my drawing, I'll lay a piece of tracing paper over the top. I'll trace my drawing so that I can then transfer it to my final piece of paper. I then tape my traced sketch on top of my final sheet of paper, and I go underneath and transfer it with a number 2 mechanical pencil. The materials I'm going to be using today are Prismacolor brush tip markers and golden fluid acrylics. And what I'll be doing is underpainting the drawing with the markers first and then painting golden fluid acrylics over the top. Now, if you want a little bit more in-depth tutorials on how I actually go about this process, I've got a few videos which I'll add the links in the description below where I talk about this type of process and this method a little bit more in depth. And I'll also include a blog post down there on my website where I've actually written out an article on how to do this as well. But let's go ahead and get into the real reason why I wanted to talk to you today: how to improve your drawing and painting skills and how I grow as an artist. Ever since I was in first grade, I've always wanted to become a better artist. I wanted to become better at sketching, better at drawing, better at painting, better with color, better with proportions, better with perspective, better at, well, everything. So there I was, armed with a pencil, a pad, and a determination to make everything I drew into an epic piece of art. But there was only one problem. I couldn't do it. Okay, so before I go any further, let me back up here and set the theme for this video. Throughout my entire journey as an artist, there hasn't been anything that's affected me more than a quote by Michelangelo. Because this so-called brilliant man once said, "If people knew how hard I worked to get my mastery, then it wouldn't seem so wonderful at all." I couldn't think of a more perfect explanation of how artists achieve true greatness. Because after years of struggle, countless failures, and thousands upon thousands of grueling hours working on my craft, I realized that my growth as an artist boils down to only 2 words: hard work. This brings me back to that problem I had as a kid when I knew that I just couldn't do it. I often think about my progress in art over the years and what led me to become the artist that I am today. We often like to romanticize about always creating a masterpiece every time we pick up a pencil or paintbrush. However, every great artist with experience knows that this simply isn't possible. Just as a football player doesn't always play games, A musician doesn't always play symphonies, and a weightlifter doesn't always attempt a world record. An artist doesn't always create masterpieces. These things take practice. So when I talk about practice, I'm not talking about drawing triangles, spheres, or even that awful still life your 8th grade art teacher made you paint. I'm talking about creating something that you love, practicing your craft around your greatest passion and finding joy in the process of doing so. So forget about that triangle and practice drawing or painting what you love. And no, I'm not talking about pulling out a 4-foot canvas and painting the Mona Lisa. I'm talking about sketching something small, drawing something simple, or painting something that's easy for yourself, much like what you're watching me draw right now. So let's talk about that. The artwork you're watching me create is something I do every week of my life. These are drawings that allow me to explore the simpler side of my art and experiment and test new techniques. No, it's not one of my elaborate landscapes or my most glorious project to date. It's simply the subject matter that I love and something that I'm comfortable doing. It's how I try, it's how I test, and it's how I learn. I know that it's not going to win me some big award, but it's something that I'm proud of, and it's something that I can enrich someone else's life with. And that matters to me. So this is how I practice. These are the reps that I take week in and week out to accelerate my growth as an artist. And if you're not willing to do these types of reps, in whatever form that may be for you, then I really think that you'll be limiting your true potential. We all have the opportunity and the God-given right to be the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. Talent is overrated. Let me just say that one more time. Talent is highly overrated. We all start from the ugly and embarrassing bottom of the totem pole. But with practice, determination, and hard work, we can get better. So my friends, if you want to get better, then you have to realize that this is a marathon and not a sprint. Our actions have to map to our ambitions. We all need practice. And if we want to reach our goal, then we have to be putting in the work that ultimately leads us in that direction. Becoming great at your craft takes time. This is a long journey. And along the way, it won't always look like you envisioned. But just put your head down and work through it. Because I promise that if you hold your breath long enough, when you look up, you'll be farther ahead than you ever thought you'd be. So start creating something around what you love. Make sure it's simple and also easy enough for you to try and test new things within it. Do this weekly and put in the reps. We all, and I mean all, have a special gift in art. But the problem is that most of us don't put in enough work to discover what that gift is for ourselves. So I implore you, do the reps, put in the work, discover your gift.